Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to Mirror Expressions, a channel where I take the time to share a little bit of myself with you all. And I invite y'all to come on and do the same with me. Go ahead, hit that thumbs up for me, y'all. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. So let's get those subs up. Let's get them up, up, up. And let me know how you're doing. If you've looked in the mirror today and you feel A1 with what you see looking back, go ahead and drop me a mirror emoji in the chat. And if you don't, do what you must to get back to a healthier you. I always advocate for mental health. That's just something that I think everybody should recognize and take care of. All right, y'all. We finishing off with Married at First Sight, the part two of the reunion. I ain't gonna even lie to y'all. You know, I think I told y'all last review, the first part of the reunion, like after it popped off with Justin and Nate, it just was not it was just not that interesting. It was kind of a snooze fest. And I really forgot that there was a part two. So that is why y'all are getting this review late. I did. I really did. I was just like, oh, it's Wednesday. I ain't got nothing else to do. Married at First Sight is not on. Abbott ain't on. Like, I sat there and I caught up on the last of what is it? Love is Blind. That's what I did Wednesday. Like, I literally thought nothing about Married at First Sight Part 2. Until the next day, I was like, wait a minute, there's a part two. So anyway, my apologies, but we gonna go ahead and get into it as we get into it, right? So we pick up with Justin and Alexis, right? We know we had left off with them. And Justin is just basically saying that Alexis is not truthful. And Alexis is like, you know what? You're getting emotional. You know how she do. She gonna try to flip the script on him. And he was just like, no, you try to gaslight me like you've been doing the entire season. And I was just like, and she was, because, you know, she'll do that in a minute. You know, you're getting emotional. Like he ain't got no reason to be like, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, he said, you're just a compulsive liar. And so, you know, he's still trying to say Lexus came over to his house in the middle of the night for some ping ping. And she still denying it. She never came over there. She never came on to him. I don't know if it's truth or not. I believe there's probably some truth in that. But at the same time, Justin always talking about somebody trying to come on to him from the very beginning before they even walked down the aisle. You know, that was all we heard from him. Everybody want me for my pain. You know what I'm saying? Then it was Nate want him. Now Lex is trying to come on to him or whatever. And I was just like, boy, bye. Anyway, she sticks to her story that she ain't never come over there for no sex or whatever. So Justice said, you know, he doesn't think that Lex was here for the love, you know, or to find love. And Lex said, you know, she tried everything in her to love him. And even like growing past the fact that she wasn't attracted to him. And she just tried to be the best wife that she could to him. And Justice said, you know, her energy wasn't there. It just wasn't being reciprocated. And that a man knows if a woman is attracted to them or wants them. And so Kevin ended up asking him, well, would they at least be friends? And Lex said, no, not after today. I said, well, okay. So then I ended up bringing out their siblings or whatever. So his brother Danelle came out, and then her sister, I think her name Amber, came out. And so Kevin was like asking him, was Danelle impressed with that Justin had gave away Maya? And he was just like, basically, no. He felt that, you know, Justin was gonna resent Alexis for doing that. And then Danelle still says that he felt like he still stand behind him, feeling like Justin was not ready to be married. And they showed that clip, y'all, where Danielle called their man a bitch. I said, oh my goodness. Out of all the things they could have shown of him telling his brother that he didn't think he was ready for marriage, they had to go and show their part where he called his brother a bitch. And he told him, man, he acted straight up like a bitch. I said, oh my goodness. So, anyway, Amber said that it was Justin's high-headedness that got to her, you know, that he would say things in a moment and, you know, or things that you just couldn't take back or whatever. And so Kevin asked Alexis did she feel like did she feel like Justin resented her? And Alexis said, you know, yeah, she felt like Justin resented her and Newton after he gave away his dog or whatever. So Alexis did go on to say that, you know, she didn't continue to be upset about what happened to Newton. And I said, as she shouldn't, because part of that was her fault. There was both of them fault. There were both of their faults for not researching or getting proper advice on how to introduce them dogs correctly or whatever. And so she said it's not that, it was more so how she found out before that well, how she found out after the fact that Maya had been aggressive towards other dogs before, and how he did not disclose the information to her. And so she said she was just more upset about that. And Amber said, you know, for her, just to giving up Maya just kind of showed her how committed and willing he was to work at the marriage. And then we find out, you know, that he does have Maya back now, whatever. So Danielle said he thinks the problem with their marriage was that Alexis felt like she had to handle Justin with kid gloves, and Alexis was just too much for Justin. So Justin said, you know, he's not dating yet, that he's still healing. And so Kevin tried his best to kind of get them back together, right? And, you know, like, and fix things. And Lisa was just like, let the man say no, like, it's a no to us getting back together. Because I was just like, Kevin, why? Did you not watch the season? But we know he doesn't watch no season ever. And then come on here and do these reunion shows. But I was just like, he couldn't have. Otherwise, he would not be trying to get them folks back together like that. Alexis says she's not dating either right now, but that her DMs are lit. I said, okay. So all the ladies end up coming back on stage with Kevin, all right? And so he's just asking them basically who's the closest. And it was like Alexis and Kristen, but that they all have a group chat called, what they call it? Oh, shit, I don't remember, y'all. But anyway, Sister Wives. And so Kristen, and Alexis, like I said, they were the closest. They said they trauma bonded over their men. And Morgan, you know, said she still kept in touch with the group. So even though she had stopped filming, she said it just kind of felt like she had never left as far as like when it came to the group or whatever. Then Kevin asked Lex, you know, well, did she decide to, how did she decide to tell Morgan about what Ben and Justin had talked about, right? And so she said that Morgan actually came to her and said, you know, she would have some intuition about Ben, and she just looked so sad. She had her suspicions. And so Lex said basically just seeing how much pain her friend was in, she thought it was in her best interest to go and let her know that her suspicions were right, and that Ben had been coming to Justin talking about their relationship. And so Lex did say she blamed herself at some points for the demise of Morgan and Ben's relationship. She said, but at the end of the day, you know, it was the truth, and she was glad that she was there to support her friend Morgan. So Kristen said that she never wanted to meet a man that's looking for somebody else, but that's exactly what she ended up getting. She said she has some regrets, but one of them is not trying so hard to make things work. I think I'm saying that right. One of them is trying so hard to not trying so hard to make things work. Right. Y'all forgive me. So, Kevin then asked them if they were, fed up with Mitch or whatever, right? And so Lindy said yes, and Sasha was just pretty much like absolutely, to the point that when she would greet him, she would greet him by calling him bitch, And so we get some never before seen footage of that, like her just literally like, hey bitch, or what about bitch. And it was just like, wow, like I know we all kind of joke and tease like on these reviews about him acting like that, but that's just disrespect to a whole nother level, just to be like, And so Kevin then asked, well, did he earn that nickname? And Stasha was just like, absolutely. Like, now I agree he did. He earned that nickname all the way through the season. But still, like, that was just a little too much for me. But anyway, Kristen said, it didn't bother her because at times she wanted to call him that herself. And I'm sure because, she just said her marriage felt so one-sided mostly. So as far as her standing up for herself, that time when they were all with the couples and she kind of went off on Dr. Pepper for trying to make excuses for Mitch, and then how the next day we saw her apologizing for taking up for herself. So she said as far as that, it was pretty much a relief for everybody. And that they were proud that she finally stood up for herself. Now, this is what the other girls are saying about that situation. And so she ends up saying, she still wears her ring on her pinky finger because it's too beautiful not to wear. I said, girl, put that ring down. That ring don't mean ish to you now. Nothing. Like nothing. Here you go, Kevin. You got your dream ring, but not your dream man. And insert, y'all, we get one of them little James Allen commercial right here. Literally, Stasha going about, we see her, oh, I got to choose my ring, we see, y'all know how they do now. In the middle of these last 2 seasons, they've been giving us these commercials. So anyway, Kevin then wants to dive into the tension between Lindy and Miguel, right? And how she went to go vent to her friend about how things were when they were coming off the couples retreat. And so Lindy just basically said she was wrong. She was running off of emotions and that Miguel didn't do anything wrong. I said, Miguel wants you just to backtrack. He want to make sure he's looking favorable on TV. And we already know Lindy gonna say whatever to make that happen, right? So Lindy say they end up coming out stronger after the retreat, that it was just a moment of growth for them. And the other lady said when it happened between Miguel and Lindy, they were not worried. Like in that moment, they were not. So Kevin had ended up asking them that, and they were like, no. So then they get into Nate and Stasha next, and Stasha whole issue with the love thing. And we see that clip of, when they were in the hot tub, and Stasha was just like, well, on the scale, what do you love me? And he was just like a 4 out of 10, 40 out of 100. And then Stasha ended up saying she was like an 8 out of 10, And so Stasha said that about that moment, it scared her because she got to thinking about how Nate had been in this relationship for 2 years with this other woman and had never said that he loved her to her. And so she was just saying, that could potentially be her. And so that's why she was just kind of pushing the whole thing. So they end up going over when Stasha kept Luna. Y'all remember that. And so we kind of just see the struggle that she was having with keeping her, and we got to see some more never before seen footage like of she and Nate giving giving Luna a bath and all that. So that was cute look to kind of see that, and to make fun of Stasha's facial expressions when Kristen was explaining to her what it took to take care of Luna or whatever. So then they end up bringing up Justin and Lex again, and the 1 month anniversary dinner when he was kind of trying to push Lex to share with the group, and Lex was just like, no, I don't want to share with the group, right? And so Stasha just kind of said it made her feel uncomfortable, and everyone at the table pretty much agreed to that. It just made them feel uncomfortable. And Lex was saying in that moment, she was just feeling like their relationship was too maternal, like a mother and child relationship versus a romantic relationship. And so she didn't want to talk about it. And she felt like he wasn't respecting those boundaries because she said, mind you, like before they even got there, they had already talked about like any issues that they had, they would just talk about on their own. And so she just felt like he wasn't respecting those boundaries, right? So Kevin then asked the ladies like their thoughts on having an emotional man, right? And so Morgan was just like, she would not be able to deal with an overly emotional man. I'm thinking like, yeah, because for you like a whole brick, you know what I'm saying? Like, people got to bulldoze to get to your emotions. So, yeah. Anyway, you might need an emotional man, little girl, because you might need somebody to try to help soften you up some. But anyway, Sasha said, while it's good for a man to be emotional or in touch with their emotions, Justin, on the other hand, is just unstable. I said, no, she did not just call that man unstable, but she did. I said, oh, wait. So then Kevin ends up asking Alexis, were there times when she just wanted to tell him to just stop crying, right? And so she said yes, but she would just kind of do it like in a roundabout way. Like she didn't want to just come out and just be like, would you stop crying? But, she would, do it like in a roundabout way to kind of make it feel like it was his decision to stop crying or whatever. And so he asked, what would you tell yourself in the beginning before starting this experiment? So Morgan basically said she would tell herself to hold on tight. Krista said she would tell herself not to procrastinate on resolving conflict. Alexa said, know what you're willing to allow. Lindy said she wished she was able to keep it together more. And Stasha said that she would practice more patience. And so they leave, the men come out. Y'all, again, this is just all kind of, it's just like, oh, how much longer do we got? You know what I'm saying? So the men come out. He started asking them questions like, do they still hang out? Basically, Justin was like, some of us do. And then he basically calls everybody name but Nate. So everybody but Nate hang out together. And so he was just like, when he said that, you can still feel the tension I said Kevin didn't want no more smoke between them two. So he was just like, you know what, let's just move on. Let's just move on. So then he wants to know if Ben and Justin are still cool. They are. Being said, you know, Justin had apologized to him. Yada, 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 yada. I think they joke about how if Ben and Morgan had sex sooner, then maybe their relationship would have lasted longer, because they end up showing playbacks of like their sexual tension at the beginning of their relationship when like they first got married, and how Morgan was lusting over Ben's body and yada 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 yada. So then they end up showing a clip of the bachelor party when Nate had told the stripper to get down on her knees, and he started squirting that whipped cream in his mouth, whatever. So they asked, well, what did Stasha think about that when she watched it back? And Nate was pretty much saying that, you know, Stasha didn't care. And so he asked the guys if they have any kind of misconceptions about Nate just based on, you know, his actions before they really got to know him. And so, you know, Miguel speaks up. He said, you know, he did. He thought that Nate was very reserved, though, because he seemed to always say the right thing at the right time. And to the point that Miguel said he was a little envious of Nate, in fact, at some points. And so Nate just says, you know, he thinks he came across like that, or that he comes across like that because, you know, he was being very surface level. He's not used to being vulnerable. And so, yeah, that was pretty much with that. So then Justin being an emotional being, that comes up next. And, you know, Justin, he talked about he ain't got no shame. And I'm thinking like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Especially how they end up showing like all the clips just to cry over the season. It was just like boom, 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 boom. So as they're watching the clips, a playback of the clips, we see they keep panning between Nate's facial expressions and Justin. So both of them are laughing or whatever. And I said, just laughing because he's slick and embarrassed, but he's trying to play it off like he's not. And Nate is just laughing because they just be, I don't know, he be just trolling Justin like, you know, he know this gonna irk their mind. And so, anyway, Justin was just like, you know, more men should cry. And so I think Kevin asked, like, did y'all have an issue with that? And so Miguel was just like, no, he didn't have an issue with it. And Miss said, you know, he thinks that more men should cry. And then they go speak up and talk about something, but not that much. It's weird. Yeah, that took me because you know what? I'm all for that too. A man being in touch with their emotional side, you know, let's get rid of this masculine toxicity. Let's get rid of it. Let a man be in tune with his feelings. But yeah, I'm like Nate on that. That was a bit too much. That was a bit too much. The experts come out next, Pastor Cal, Dr. P. Again, we don't see the other experts, Dr. Pia and Devon. Like we don't see them during the reunion. So they come out, and here go Kevin. Well, y'all got 2.5 out of 5, right? Talk about he count Justin and Lexus a half. I said, nah, bro, nah. So Dr. Pepper said, you know, she feels that most of the couples put their heart into making things work. And Pastor Cal, he kind of agrees with her. And he said, you know, there was so much hope, but it's hard to prepare anyone for the process that they're going to be facing. You know what I'm saying? So they end up meeting with Ben and Mitch first. And so, y'all be... Ben came out in them little tight gauchos or capri pants or whatever. I was just like, baby, Them ain't it. That is not where it's at. Cause baby, they were tight. They were tight on their booty. They were tight on them calf muscles. Then they was hitting all the way up to his knee. And then did y'all notice a little flap on his coat? Still had the little thread in it. You know, you supposed to cut that, open that flap up, boo. Did nobody tell him? Nate, you didn't tell your dog. You did not tell him. Oh goodness. So yes. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna get off of here. But anyway. So Mitch said, you know, he tells him that he's learned a lot and that he dropped the ball in the very beginning when he told Kristen on the honeymoon that he wasn't attracted to her, and that then he gonna say that he was just having a anxiety attack. I think that's when he said that. I'm just like, dude, that was not an anxiety attack. You just told the woman you were not attracted to her. That's all that was. Attack my ass. But anyway. Pastor Cal talking about he went into dad mode and felt like he had to protect Kristen. And so Mitch says that when he said that he lashes out because he's never fit in, and this showed him just how bad off he was with it. And I was just like, you know, you don't fit in because you choose not to fit in. Like, you don't have to conform to so-called fit in, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you can still be who you are as an individual, as I kind of think he probably realizes and sees through this process, because he has established different relationships with people that aren't necessarily like-minded, you know, to him or with him or whatever. So anyway, Ben, they show him constantly saying he's sorry over and over. Like, we see a playback of those clips. And so Pastor Cal, you know, just said, you know, you have to be careful that you're not losing your own personal confidence, right? And so he points out, you know, that Ben is smart, he's good looking, he has a nice body. I said, Pastor Cal, you better start complimenting him before just to be trying to say you hitting on his partner now, you know, because apparently if a man compliments another man, you're hitting on them. So, anyway, Dr. Pepper asked if he has worked on his perfectionism and expecting that perfectionism in a woman as well. And so, you know, Ben was just like, you know, he's still working on himself and he's in therapy or whatever, yada, yada, yada. And, before I get off of them, Pastor Cal did tell Mitch that, you know, he can take himself out of that category of being an outcast. And he can. I agree. Like I was just saying, you know, he doesn't have to be that way. But he's kind of making himself that way. He puts himself in that situation. And I think he pushes people away. I think he's gotten so used to it, or got so used to kind of being different, that he even subconsciously pushes people away. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, enough on them. Morgan and Kristen, they end up coming out next to talk to Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal. And so Kristen, you know, she said, you know, she's learned a lot, like not to avoid conflict. And Morgan said she's learned, or that she's learning to not react with her emotional side of her brain, but with the logical side of her brain. I'm just like, are you really learning that? Or are you just kind of regurgitating what you've probably heard in therapy? But anyway, Pastor Cal brings up Decision Day, how Kristen and Mitch was so lovey-dovey, how they even kissed in the car, and how, you know, it just was weird. Kristen was just like, yeah, we're confusing. We don't make sense. And Pastor Cal is like, y'all don't make sense, or y'all did make sense back then. He's basically like, are you speaking present or past tense right now? Like, basically trying to see, you know, did y'all get back together? Like, what's up? What's going on? And so she was just kind of like, it's both. They're not together. She hasn't seen him since they moved out. And so she just said, watching things back, it gave her a different perspective, especially like with the wedding. And she said because for her, the wedding was happy and she really enjoyed it. She had a lot of fun. But watching the back and seeing his reaction and how he talked about her and her family, it was just very hurtful to her. And so Pastor Cal brings up again how, he felt like he had to go into dad mode with Kristen, and how at times he just wanted to slap Mitch or whatever. And so Dr. Pepper just kind of said, while they don't think he's a bad person, they just did not realize how oppositional and defiant he could be. And so it just didn't work. So Dr. P said, she was proud of how much effort that Kristen put in to try to make it work, though. She was proud of that. So they asked Morgan, could she have had more grace towards Ben? She said no, because he went to Justin multiple times, even after she had told him not to. And so Dr. P, said she wished that Morgan would have had that vision that they are in unusual circumstances, and to try to see how they could focus their attention back on them versus just running with, oh, he went to talk to somebody else. So they meet up with Lex and Justin next. And, I said when they came out together this time, he was not holding that train, baby, like he was the first time they came out. But anyway, Pastor Cal says he doesn't see, what was the reason for the breakup, basically. I'm just like, Pastor Cal, what do you mean you don't see? And so Lex was just like, we're not compatible. She thought it was a balance issue, but then she just realized it was just conflicting. She has to parent when he's being super sensitive, which is frustrating to her. And he gets frustrated with her when she's joking a lot. And then she goes on to even say how he asked her not to joke on TV because it's going to be seen by millions of people. And I was just like, I agree with him, because Lexus, your jokes were hitting below the belt. Like, that's just embarrassing. So I don't blame him for asking you not to joke about him on TV the way you were doing, like the way you were going at it. And so, Pastor Cal, said, people do change in marriage, and that when she left him, it wasn't just her in the relationship. So basically, he was just like, you are not a single person. Like, Justin was part of their relationship too, and the way you just cut things off just it wasn't cool or whatever. So Kevin asked, like, on move out day when Lex apologized to him, like, for ending things the way she did he feel like he was willing to fight for their marriage at that point? Like, was he willing to work more on it? And so, he said, he wasn't completely honest with Lexus, and, from the point he gave Maya away, basically, about how he felt and how that affected him. And so Dr. Pepper was like, basically it sounds like where Lexus lost trust in you, it sounds like you also lost trust in her, because he felt like he had to give up his dog and she didn't stay there in the relationship with him. So Kevin did ask, the professional opinion, to the experts in their professional opinion, what went wrong, what was the real problem between Lex and Justin, right? And so Dr. P said that Lex wanted him to be more of an alpha male, and so she backed away because he wasn't that. And then Pastor Cal said, with the experiment, the process being so accelerated, and they had to get to know each other so quickly and so deeply in such a short period of time, that they end up getting the good and the bad, and that things were just so intense that it's almost like an emotional vomit on one another with no kind of foundation there to support all of that. And so he just basically said that they both quit, they gave up. And but Dr. P and Pastor Cal both said that they feel like they could have gotten through things had they continued to be committed to doing the work or whatever. So Pastor Cal was like hinted that, well, they still could work out, baby. And Lex ran off this stage so quick when he said that. Like, don't play with me, boo. Don't do it. Don't do me, boo. So she ran all off this stage while Justin, kind of lingered and said his goodbyes. Anyway, we see all the couples. They're back on stage, right? Kevin brings up Shirtgate. And so, you know, when all the wives bought their husbands the same shirt to wear. And so Mitch was just saying how in that moment he felt set up for something that he didn't want to do. And he said it was a trigger. Like it was a trigger for him to being made to feel like he had to do something he didn't want to do. And so Krista said, well, doesn't marriage require you to do some things that you don't want to do? And I'm just like, truth, you know what I'm saying? It's a give and take, So Miguel tried to kind of hit Mitch, talking about he felt set up too. And I'm just like, yeah, right. But anyway, Mitch knows he overreacted. And that's all it is too. He know he overreacted. So Kevin said, and I like this question from Kevin. I do. He said, Mitch, don't you see the irony and you not wanting someone to tell you how to look, yet you want to tell your wife how to look? Y'all, I said, bingo, bingo, bingo. Mitch, itch bay, whatever. He looked like he got slapped in the mouth for a minute, and then he started getting defensive like he normally does. But for a minute, it was just like, damn, it's like I can literally see it in his mind, like, damn, he right here has a good point. I was like, touche. But he went on to say, it wasn't the same. It's not the same in his mind. He never tried to buy her anything to make her look differently. He never tried to tell her what to wear. And I was just like, boy, please. Ain't no justification for that. Ain't none. Because there was a valid point. So anyway, let's see. I'm trying to skip over some stuff. Get down to the nitty gritty. They talk about Stasha calling Mitch a bitch. And Mitch said that did hurt him a little. Sasha ended up apologizing to him. And Mitch kind of, make a joke. I think he liked to, make things lighten the mood by saying, even though I know I probably did act like that some of the time or whatever. So, Kevin says, he was upset after watching the season, only to see Justin and Alexis split. I was just like, Kevin, quit lying. You ain't watched this season. Otherwise, you would not be upset about that. But anyway, he wants to know if the others thinks that the two of them should have fought harder to save their marriage. And everybody was pretty much on the same page with the no. And so they kind of get on her, wanted to go out to the club and all this and yada, yada, yada. And, Kevin ends up asking Stasha, well, is that a problem in your relationship when Nate wanted to do something or go out and spend time with his friends, right? And so Stasha was just like, no, I don't have nothing to say when he go to the gym or he go out or he hang with Ben. Y'all, did y'all see Ben's face when she said that? Ben was looking like, now you lying. You won't call his phone by saying 8, 9, 10 times when we together. That's what that facial expression looked like. But anyway, Justin said, his problem with Alexis going out was because he felt like Alexis didn't want him. And so he felt like in those moments that she kept trying to go out, it was her really trying to avoid him. So next they bring up being in Morgan's marriage. Kevin asked Morgan, what is she taking responsibility for? Again, another good question, Kevin. I see you trying to step it up. You trying to step it up this reunion. So anyway, she gives some bullshit answer talking about, she just overreacted. She's reactive and, she wish she would have stepped back and processed things before she reacted, but that she still would have ended things basically. And so Justin had to put his 2 cents in and say that when he went and told Ben what was saying, it wasn't like in a gossipy type of way. It wasn't like I said, well, this, that, and the other. He was just like, I more so just said that, hey, Ben's having a rough time and XYZ. You know what I'm saying? So then Kevin gonna say, but you also did have him on speakerphone too. I said, touche. Good point. Good point. They didn't talk about like when Sasha first found out that Lindy and Miguel were having sex. Y'all remember how Sasha kind of jumped down her throat? Because you remember Lindy did say she wasn't ready, yada, yada, yada. And we saw was Miguel kept kind of pressuring her. And so we see that, and Lindy said, I understand Sasha had good intentions, but I'm a grown woman and I can make my own decisions. And I was all in for it, And then Miguel gonna have to try to save face and go through the whole scenario the first time, talking about before we ever did it. I kept asking her, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? And I was just like, sure you did. Sure. Because when none of them scenes, when you kept trying to make your little innuendos that you was ready for some sex, didn't come across like you were waiting till she was ready. So anyway, then Kevin kind of jokes about how, they thought they was the first ones to consummate their marriage, but it was really Justin and Alexis. And basically, Justin was like, yeah, we did. We consummated. And Alexis, of course, was like, I'm going to let you say what you want to say. We finally did, but it was not at that time, right? So, let me see. Kevin goes on and asks Alexis, like, what are the lies that Justin is saying about you? So she was just like that she came on here for clout and not for marriage, that she didn't go out all the time like he tried to make it seem, and that the whole sex thing was untrue. And so Nate ends up speaking up, right? And he's just like, well, if all that's true, that what you were saying, you came to me on something different, Justin. Like, you were being untruthful yourself when you were coming to me. And Justin's like, man, bro, don't talk to me. Oh. I was just like, oh, child, not again. Not again. Like, we don't need to see y'all get into it no more. Everybody was starting to look uncomfortable again. And so, anyway, Kevin said, well, Lex gave her all to make things work. Again, Kevin, what show were you watching? Because it was not Married at First Sight this season. Talking about Lexus gave her all. Of course she did not. And of course, we know you don't watch the show. You just be speaking. So, anyway, Justin does apologize for not taking her feelings into consideration. It's something he's working on. And so Nate interrupts him and says something like, well, he sure do need a lot of work or something. And Justin was like, shut up, man. Damn, you acting like a kid. I said, Lord, if that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, baby, because both of y'all, and especially Justin. Anyway, Kevin was just like, he wanted to end things on a happy note. So we get to see some of the funnier footages from the season, some of which we had not seen. And yeah, that was the end of it. And so, you know, he closed out with asking them, like, what were their favorite parts. And so Miguel said his favorite part was meeting Lindy. Mitch and Kristen said just learning more about themselves. And they said, you know, he's just thankful for all of them. And Ben was just like, one of his favorite memories was the whole mermaid thing. And so we get a sneak peek at the next season, which is in Nashville, right next door to me. So I can't wait to see that since it's so close to home. And anyway, spoiler alert about the two couples that were still together. Just in case you haven't heard, or if you don't want to hear, you can go and click off now. But supposedly neither one of them are together, Lindy and Miguel, or Nate and Stasha. And I basically predicted that neither one of them would stay together. I did think that Stasha and Nate would last a little longer than they did, but I knew it wasn't gonna be long term. And did y'all also know that Olajuwon and Katina from last season have filed for divorce? That's just been put up on social media. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, again, didn't think that one was gonna last either. So that's all I got, y'all. We got a preview of the Where Are They Now. I think I probably will review that. It seems like it's going to be pretty interesting. We see Ben and Morgan working out together. Like, oh, okay. You know, they go from can't be in the same place. They see each other just throwing up the peace sign to now they working out together. Justin and Les look like they done went on some type of date that Alexis clearly look like she don't want to be on just by her facial expressions alone. We hear Justin telling her that he all mad at her for telling the people that he can't get it ready, he can't get his, you know, he can't get it up. And then we see that we see Stasha saying that she and Nate filed for separation. So yeah, so I can't wait. I can't wait to see the Where Are They Now. But anyway, y'all, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this thing right here. As always, I pray for y'all. Y'all pray for me. And what? Peace out, y'all. Bye.